is the spirit of solidarity and respect for indigenous struggle that our work of labor, economic, racial, and climate justice for workers takes place today. This is why we want to put a spotlight on a very important fight that is happening right now. Please join me in welcoming Syed Hussein to speak about the solidarity needed right now for Gracie Narrow. Thank you.
Welcome. We're gonna play the video first? Okay. We're gonna watch the video.
For 20 years, Grassy Narrows has blockaded.
Early in December, about 40 First Nation residents blocked logging roads to protect their hunting, trapping, and fishing rights.
Demonstrated.
That's why they're afraid, because they know what they're doing to us is wrong.
Drummed. Marched. Built alliances. We are fighting against industrial logging and mining, racism and colonialism, and we are fighting for Indigenous freedom, land back, and protecting the sources of life. "20 years ago, we began a blockade. We kicked out the world's largest newsprint company, protected 15 million trees from being cut, and kept all industry out of our 7,000 square kilometer territory. We revived our ceremonies and helped build a movement. But Ontario continues to propose industrial logging and mining on our land against our will. We will never back down. We will sing and dance and fight.
As long as the rivers flow and the sweetgrass grows and the sun shines.
On December 2nd,
Thank you, everyone. Just gonna put up a QR code here. Okay, my name is Hassan, and I work with Migrant Workers Alliance for Change, but I've been working with Grassy Narrows since about 2007. As you heard, this small First Nations community of just a few hundred people had its river system flooded with mercury almost 50 years ago, half a century. The people were poisoned, the fish was destroyed, which people kept eating, creating massive health issues. Over the last 50 years, this community has been fighting and has recently had massive victories. How many of you have heard of Grassy Narrows before? Just so, okay, so you heard this small community of a few hundred people who managed to shake Ontario and Canada, forced the country to clean up its river system, and most recently, its biggest fight was to win access to a residential home where people could simply die with dignity, and they won it, and a $75 million specific health unit is being constructed on their territory. But as you also heard, almost 20% of their territory is now under threat for logging. There is something in Ontario called, free access, which basically means that you could, from your computer right now or your phone, actually get and stake a claim on grassy territory and go and dig there, and Grassy wouldn't need to be told or give permission. And if they were able to find something on that digging, like for example, gold, then you would have access to it, right? So this is why, and this is not just happening in Grassy Narrows, it's happening all across the region. How many of you have heard of Ring of Fire? Okay, awesome. So the Ring of Fire is it's Doug Ford's biggest plan to extract resources and wealth from Indigenous communities. And just last week, a historic alliance was formed by Grassy Narrows with Kichinamekusub Inunuweg, or KI, with Wapekaka and Neskantaga. These four communities between them control 60,000 square kilometers. That's about 100 times the size of Toronto. And a historic alliance for the first time in recent memory, since at least the arrivals of the colonizer, these four indigenous nations have formed an alliance to defend, protect, and take care of each other so that when there is extraction on their lands, which is coming under Ford, they will show up for each other. And the call to you today is to scan this code, sign this petition, and join the Free Grassy mailing list so that you can be invited to the next fight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hassan. Thank you. Please go on to sign the petition. So now we're going to continue with our program. So we are also trying to have a special group of students from TMU who would like to welcome you to the campus. We would like to introduce Desi Fernando, Sofia Dasgman, and Kennedy Brighton. Please help me to welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Desi and I would like to welcome you to our campus and let you all know that just 5 weeks ago in a building just like across the street over there, Desi and I organized to unionize our workplace. We saw many issues in our workplace, and in our roles as academic links, as residence advisors, as Dons, as you might know them, we are responsible for student safety, and we knew not a single student was safe in TMU's residences until we were safe, until we were fairly compensated. So that is what led us to joining OPSU just 5 weeks ago.
A big part of what we were fighting for, like Sophia mentioned, was our safety, and that involved a lot of going against what our management has said to us and done to us for years and to the people that came before us. While Sophia and I are a huge chunk of the people that were mainly involved with unionizing or graduating, we just couldn't leave the building or the campus without recognizing and doing what we could to make it a safer space for everybody. And that involves just establishing new protocols, making sure that we are better trained for our students, because ultimately, if, like Sophia mentioned, we're not taken care of, our students are just put in a much worse position. We are the frontline workers of residence, and our management is very cushy and comfy in the background, so we just wanted to make sure that everyone who comes into this job as a young adult, usually 19, 20-year-olds, ensure that they're coming into a place where they are taken care of, and also a place where they are able to recognize that they deserve transparency from their management, and that they don't just have to do what they're told, because most of the time they're just being taken advantage of, and we didn't want that for anybody else. And again, just fair wages. I think I deserve to be paid better than you putting me in a tiny room and telling me to do what you want me to do. So.
And Desi and I have decided to continue to be a part of the movement for decent work, because we don't want, again, anything like what happened to us at TMU's residences to happen to any other young racialized worker. And we want to continue to hold the university and other bosses accountable for the systemic wage theft and unsafety they build into their workplaces.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello? Okay. As we all may know, the Ontario Federation of Labor has been a strong ally in our fight for justice for all workers. Unfortunately, the officer couldn't join us this weekend, but OFL President Patty Coate has sent solidarity greetings that we will share with you now. Okay, invite James Clark from OFL And also welcome Erin Aris, Chair, Erin Aris. I'm sorry. Chair. Okay. Erin Aris, Chair of the Political Action Committee, Ontario Nurses Association.
Welcome, coming James and Erin here. Welcome.
Thanks, Beryl. Thanks, Sabrina. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody feeling today? Amazing. So my name's James, and I work at the Ontario Federation of Labor, and I'm going to read a statement today on behalf of Patty Coates, who's the president of the OFL, who wants to bring greetings of solidarity to you. So Patty says, "Dear friends, on behalf of the Ontario Federation of Labor, I send our warmest greetings of solidarity to the hundreds of you who are participating in Beat the Boss's Bootcamp this weekend. We congratulate Justice for Workers, all your leaders, all your organizers, all your supporters for organizing such an important and inspiring event. We need more events like these and in more communities across Ontario. For the last several years, the OFL and Justice for Workers have built an enduring organizing relationship that has made all our work more effective. We deeply value this collaboration, and we look forward to expanding it as we continue to fight and beat the bosses together." Right? Are we going to beat the bosses? Not just fight the bosses, we're going to beat the bosses. I also want to let you know how grateful we are for your active support in Enough is Enough, our campaign to fight Ontario's cost of living crisis. While workers and their families struggle to get by, the banks and the corporations have been making record profits. While we work harder for less, they take more and more. That's why we're saying enough is enough. We're fed up and we're not going to take it anymore.
That's right.
Can we get a big enough is enough? Enough is enough. 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 Amazing. We're going to be chanting that in the weeks and months ahead. This weekend will be an important step in the growing fight back for all the things workers and their families deserve. Decent work and wages, affordable rent and housing, bills we can afford, and public services that take care of all of us. In short, all of us deserve a life of dignity and respect, and we won't stop fighting until we get it. This weekend, we wish you every success in all your discussions, all your planning, and all your organizing, and we thank you for everything you do in our shared struggle for justice for workers. In solidarity, Patty Coates, President of the OFL.
Thank you. Thank you, James.
How do I follow that? My name is Erin Aris, and I am a proud registered nurse. I come to you.
Yeah!
It's an honor to speak to this group. I'm from ONA. We represent 68,000 registered nurses and healthcare professionals across Ontario. Yes. As an RN, I know what it feels like to stand alone, but not anymore. Not anymore. And that changed because of all of you. Thank you. We are here with you, standing with you as you have stood with us. Look at this. This brings tears to my eyes, actually. Look at this. Look at this. This means the world to us as nurses and healthcare professionals. We know we are not alone anymore. Thank you. This is what solidarity looks like. Together, we are a force. We are a force to be reckoned with, and time has come. Just yesterday, nurses and healthcare professionals across the province, thousands and thousands, joined in solidarity with other unions Other organizations, member of the community, and walked together on picket lines across Ontario from the furthest north to the furthest south, from east to west. We were there, you were there with us. Thank you. Thank you. This kind of action was the first of its kind for us. We have not done this before. And without your support, we wouldn't have been able to achieve it. But I promise you today, this is just the beginning for us and for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you.
Thank you, Aris. We also want to give, hello? Okay. We also want to give a really big thank you to the Toronto Metropolitan Association of Part-Time Students, TMAPS, who are co-sponsoring this event and providing us with this beautiful space here at the Student Center. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get a sense of who all is in the room today. How many people do we have from outside Toronto?
Raise the hands. How many people do we have from community groups? Which groups?
How many of you are member of labor unions?
How many of you are no union service workers? Sorry.
How many do we have from the health sector?
Where is the health sector? How many of you are from the education sector? Hey.
How many of you are coming from all around the greater Toronto area, including Scarborough, Brampton, Mississauga, and Etobicoke?
Where are you? Raise your hands.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for being here. So we have a few people who have came from outside Ontario to be here with us today. So I wanna call some of these people just to stand up. So please welcome Pamela Sharon and Jen Kostuchuk from the Workers Solidarity Network, who are joining us in person all the way from Victoria, British Columbia on the West Coast. Pam and Jen! Where are you? Would you like to stand up? It's there on the back. Thank you for coming. And join us from the East Coast. Please also welcome Kitty Dickey and Tanner Mann, who are with Justice for Workers, Nova Scotia. Join us all the way from Halifax. Where are you, folks? Let's give them all a warm welcome. They came from very far away. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Welcome all of you, and thank you for coming all this way to join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Veronica. And before we dive into the next session, we have just a few housekeeping items for you. Prayer space is available in the multi-faith room on 3rd floor of this building. At the registration table, there are maps of the student center that will help you to find your way around the building. We are providing simultaneous Spanish language interpretation for some of the session today, and those sessions will take place in the room in the Tecumseh Auditorium. A huge shout out to Ana Maria Arias, and fabulous interpreter and comrade.
Anna. Thank you, Anna.
Washroom are located through the courtyard. The registration table is located right outside. Those who wants to make a donation, please go to the t-shirt table. If Saturday is the one or only day you are with us, we encourage you to load up the campaign materials to take back to your community. Check out the campaign table with the great materials. We also have Justice for Worker t-shirt and Band-Aid available for donation as a sliding scale.
Thank you, Sabrina. So you don't forget, we have a photo booth outside. So you can take this very funny solidarity message and you can take the pictures. Please don't forget to go outside and have fun with your group and take pictures. Also, we have these amazing, colorful bags. And you can get it. We have a lot of materials inside. We have a beautiful poster from the Status for All campaigns. Status for All campaigns and all the campaigns for Decent Work. Please come and take it. It's a really beautiful, colorful bag. Thank you, everyone. So another announcement to do it is like lunch will be served between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. On the courtyard area. We have amazing food, but you are welcome to bring your meals back to this room and eat. For those of you tweeting this weekend, please, we will love it to use the hashtag Justice for Workers. That is Justice, the number 4, Workers. It's at the top of the right-hand page inside your program. We also have access to free Wi-Fi. You can connect your Wi-Fi. Just choose the Wi-Fi network TMU. And the username and password are in your program and the button on the inside pages. We have some folks assigned to take pictures and videos, which will be shared on social media. If any of you cannot be photographed, please let them know. Carolina is here, Jared is there, and Rejon. Please let them know if you don't feel comfortable. Many people here are not unionized and don't want their employers to know they are here. So if you are taking pictures, please be mindful and ask for permission. And you don't feel comfortable, just let them know, and they're gonna don't take pictures, okay? Thank you.
Let's get today started. Our opening plenary begins to set the stage for our Justice for Workers movement and how it is fight for racial and migrant justice. We want to welcome Nadira, Shawna, Dixon, Luisa, Ortiz-Garza, and Deena, who will take us through the next part. Thank you.
Please welcome Nadira, Deena, Luisa, Shawna. Thank you.
Hello. How you doing? Are you getting ready for an exciting day today? All right. Well, we are thrilled that weather ain't gonna stop us. Ford ain't gonna stop us. No one's gonna stop us, right? All right. So, did you guys want to sit down and you guys are done? And, let's get this show on the road. Okay. This was Sabrina's first attempt at emceeing. Didn't she do a bloody good job? So, part of building a movement is about providing the space for us all to learn how to do this, right? And I think Vero and Sabrina did a fabulous job opening up our Saturday morning and welcoming us to this space. So thank you guys. It's not easy standing with a microphone. I mean, there are those of us who have a big mouth and have no problem, but there are some of us who are like, would much rather be in the back of the room, right? Okay, so what we want to do is really start off today with a sense of what the hell is this campaign anyways, and why are we all here? So we want to make sure everybody gets on the same page this morning. And we're also going to be dancing at some points as well. That gives you a little preview. And see, Beishi likes to dance. He just wants to kind of put some good music on, I know. All right. So I'm really thrilled to have my comrades up here with me, Luisa, Nadira, Shawna, and myself. We're just going to walk you through some of the issues around the campaign, because some of you, it's the first time that you've been to a provincial strategy meeting, right? How many it's your first time? Here. Oh my God, this is amazing. Okay. So we want to make sure you know what's going on and what's been happening, right? And who's going to take us through that? It's going to be our very own Shawna Dixon. There we go.
Okay, let me share a little background on the Justice for Workers campaign. First off, we don't just have a campaign, we have a movement. This is a movement of workers fighting to improve our working conditions and labor laws across Ontario. We've been fighting for better wages and working conditions since Ontario's minimum wage was just $8. And when we look at how far we've come, it gets easy to believe that workers can win. Just taking a look at wages, we'll see that between 1995 and 2015, the minimum wage was frozen for 12 of those 20 years. So don't let anyone ever tell you that we don't deserve at least a $20 minimum wage. And in those 20 years, the moments when we did get a raise, it was because we fought for that raise together. They wouldn't just hand it to us. So Justice for Workers was launched in 2021 on May 1st, International Workers' Day. It was just over a year into the pandemic with so many workers' lives in upheaval, lost jobs, not enough hours of work to get by. Not all of us could access income support, people on the front lines with no paid sick days. So many essential workers' health and lives were at risk. All of us understood that it was the moment to breathe new life into the decent work movement and into our demands, to refresh our vision for worker justice in a way that all of us would be willing to fight for together, leaving no one behind. After all, it was the pandemic that made clear to everyone that racialized and migrant workers are disproportionately the essential workers keeping our communities going, but are also the ones lacking essential rights like permanent and adequate paid sick days, full immigration status, and decent wages that we can live on. Since the campaign was launched, despite lockdowns, we've reached out to workers by the neighborhood they live in, the sector they work in, the language they speak, including Somali, Bengali, Spanish, Tamil, Mandarin, and more. Those of us who are racialized, who are immigrants, who are migrants, whose temporary status has been lost because of scams, because of a racist, classist immigration system that operates in order to deny us permanent residency. We are the ones who make up the base of worker power in this province. If we are to win against the Ford government's agenda to keep weakening workers' rights, if we are to be victorious against big business and the bad bosses, then our power must be wielded in unified efforts to win the worker rights and human rights that we all need and deserve. We need solidarity across our differences because that's how we win. And we've done it before. We've won before. Our previous campaign was called the Fight for 15 and Fairness. We learned lots of lessons together, the most important one being that we can win. We had many victories, as well as losses when Premier Ford came into power. Part of how Ford made Ontario open for business, as his slogan was to take away the 2 permanent paid sick days that we had just won in 2018. He canceled the $15 minimum wage set for January 2019 and canceled the fairer scheduling laws that we had won that would have let workers have their schedules in advance so that they could plan their lives around their work. Equal pay for equal work for contract, part-time, seasonal, casual, and temp agency workers was brought to an end by Ford. And though misclassification is still illegal, misclassification being when they falsely call a worker self-employed or an independent contractor in order to deny them their employee rights, it's still illegal, but the responsibility was put back onto the worker to prove that they are an employee. But remember, we did have to win those things before he could take them away. So we did have power, and our wins show that it was worth the fight, the wins that remain. So we still have these things that I'm about to share. So in 2018, job-protected emergency leave was made accessible to all workers under Ontario's Employment Standards Act. 1.7 million Ontario workers previously did not have the ability to take an unpaid day off of work due to an illness, family emergency, or other urgent situation without risking discipline from their employer. Workers are entitled to 3 weeks of vacation after 5 years of work at the same company. Temporary agency workers are supposed to get 1 week notice or pay in lieu of notice when terminated from assignments that were supposed to last 3 months or more. Temporary agencies and their client companies are supposed to be jointly responsible for unpaid wages, overtime, and public holiday pay. And of course, the minimum wage went up from about $11.60 to $14 an hour. More recently, Ford was finally forced to bring in a $15 minimum wage on January 1st, 2022. And he also got rid of the sub-minimum wage for liquor servers. So Ontario's minimum wage right now is $15.50, and it's because back in 2014, we fought for the indexation of the minimum wage to the cost of living each year. So every October 1st, the minimum wage is adjusted upward to keep up with inflation. Our provincial campaign has also spilled over into the federal arena. We won a $15 minimum wage for workers in industries that are federally regulated, like working at airlines, railways, banks, telecommunications, and more. So every April 1st, that minimum wage is adjusted upward to the cost of living. So this April, it goes up from $15.55 to $16.65 per hour. And also, as a direct result of our campaign for paid sick days, federally regulated workers also have 10 permanent paid sick days. And BC workers started 2022 with 5 employer paid sick days. So let's give a big shout out to the Worker Solidarity Network. And it's exciting to know that the fight for paid sick days is heating up in many other provinces, including New Brunswick, where there's also a conservative government. So these victories made a difference and will continue to make a difference for so many workers of color who are disproportionately represented in precarious work. But we also know that workers need and deserve much more than this. The fight is far from over. Together, we have the power in numbers to regain what we've lost and to win so much more. So I'm going to turn it over to Nadira to talk about the demands of the Justice for Workers campaign and how they were chosen.
Hello, everyone.
There's just a lot of people standing at the back, and I wonder if you have an empty chair at your table, could you put your hand up And maybe those folks that need to get to a table could come and sit down at one of those tables. So those that are sitting in the back, because we're going to be having table discussions, come up and find yourself a chair around the table. There's not that, I think there's another, there's 3 or 4 here. And there's chairs. Okay, yeah, so there's chairs over here. So can people see the hands to come? Okay, thank you. Sorry, Nadira.
Hello, everyone. Those who wants to sit, there is one seat in front. Okay, so now I want to share how our campaign, Justice for Worker, Decent Work for All, what was the demand and what was the story behind to choose those demand. It was not easy job for us, honestly speaking. We had to go through one-on-one, some story really heart-touching. I got a little bit emotional because I remember those memories, like talk to worker, they are facing a lot of critical issues in the workplaces. So it was not easy job for us, but we did finally. So in early 2021, the Worker Section Center, we did survey 200 workers. What were the main issue they are facing in the workplace during the pandemic? Those survey took place worker across various languages, job sector, types of work, including migrant, immigrant, and also racialized worker. More than half of the survey was conducted by language other than English, including Mandarin, Punjabi, Bengali, Somali, Spanish, Tamil, American Sign Language, and over 85% were racialized worker. After sorting through all key issues and recommendation from this conversation, as an organizer, we took them back to the meeting, discussed them with over 180 migrant, racialized, low-wage workers who are working in the precarious sector. We talked over what should be our minimum demand, including our minimum wage, how many paid sick days we should ask, what should be the name of the campaign, even campaign logo, campaign color. If you see these beautiful campaign materials, this is the story behind that. So we also want to make sure that we checked with undocumented migrant worker in our center, as well as migrant worker alliance change. They have also members to make sure like all the demand reflect to those workers who need it. And also to make sure no one left behind. This process we followed created 10 demand that we launched our new campaign, Justice for Worker, Decent Work for All, in May 2021. So now I want to ask those workers, some of the workers, why they choose those demands. So I'm going to call, then you can raise your hand and also share your story. So I want to ask Aisha to share her story, why she support our demand.
Hi everyone, good morning.
Please welcome Aisha.
My name is Aisha. I want to speak to the demand of the campaign that means a lot of me. Equal pay for equal work, quality for temp agency, working and paid sick days. I have been working through a temporary agency over 5 years. For the past 4 years, I have been working as a personal support worker through the same temporary agency. I travel to people's homes and take care of them. I make $16 an hour, but I have been getting $2 more per hour for pandemic pay. So for the past 20 months, I have been making $18 per hour, but the agency get $35 per hour for each hour of my work.
Shame.
I have no benefits and I don't get paid sick days. So even though I take care of people who are very sick, I can't take care of myself if I'm sick. I really support the campaign demands. We need to make sure temporary agency workers have real or hired directly after 3 months. We need to be able to earn the same wages as directly hired worker when we do the same work, and we need paid sick days too.
Thank you, Asha. Thank you so much to share your story. Now I want to ask Jose or Jose, could you please share your story, why you choose this demand to fight for? Welcome, Jose.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jose Ivan Caicedo Rodriguez. I'm a Latino immigrant, and I come from Colombia. The demand that I want to speak to is a status for all. And racism and discrimination in the workplace. Status for all is one of the most important demands, as it is critical to stop to the way of abuses that are committed against migrants and immigrants who do not yet have a definite status in this country. Not having a status forces migrants to do the jobs that no one else wants to do, where the pay is so low and you have no benefits. It is very sad to see how we face discrimination in not being able to get an education or having such high fees that you cannot access education, or not being able to get healthcare or access service, which is very difficult and in some cases humiliating. All of this leads to rampant racism, which in Canada is a more subtle institutional type of racism, as well as the treatment or people that translate into great difficulty for the Afro-Latin communities. There are so many barriers in finding employment, respectful work and education space, difficulties in accessing housing benefits, social security, and basic public services. It is difficult to process how this racism impacts, because I left my country playing the scarce opportunities available for being Black and arrived in this country, which I thought had racial openness, but I find a racist country in its treatment of migrants. Police continue to arrest and kill Latin and Black people, and poverty more centralized in our increasingly marginalizing communities. But we still have a lot of hope that this will improve for all those who do not yet have status and who in one way or another have been victims of racism and discrimination. I invite you to support this campaign and connect more and more people to join us and together achieve a status for all and fighting racism, discrimination, and other injustices that affect immigrants to Canada. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Jose. Now I want to ask Jennifer Scott to share her demand.
Hi. Oh, you guys are cute. My name is Jennifer. I'm a gig worker, so I deliver food on apps like Uber and DoorDash and Skip the Dishes. And I'm the president of Gig Workers United, which is people. Oh. Workers who deliver on apps have been organizing and saying that we deserve, we want, we will win a union and our rights under the law. In 2020, workers who were employed by the app Foodora won the right to a union, with 90% of workers voting yes to a union. But it isn't easy to unionize. It isn't easy to win a union, and many workers in Ontario do not have the right to a union. And so I am here because it must be easier, it must be accessible for all workers to unionize, to have a collective voice at work, to negotiate livable wages, health and safety protections, and to have a better quality of life.
Thank you, Jennifer. Now I want to ask Sandra to share her demand, why she supports. Sandra?
Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Sandra. I have to work in many precarious jobs as a cleaner, care worker, nanny, and others. In many of these jobs, never get overtime, holidays, vacations, payments. In one of these jobs, they didn't pay me my wages, and this is why I know about WAC. Then after WAC, they helped me to recover my wages. I think the laws has to be more strong to force the employers to pay wages. This is why I support the campaigns for decent works, because we have to change all this injustice and the workplace. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Now it should be one of the member named Julie, but she had difficulties at home. That's why she couldn't join here. She's supposed to be, so I want to double check. Julie is here. So she support minimum wage and also decent hour campaign. She's working 2-3 part-time jobs. She doesn't have enough hour, and also she is earning. It is really hard for her to live with her family. So that's why Julie support this campaign, minimum wage and decent hour. This is a small story behind those great demand. So thanks everyone. So now it's time to discuss in your table, so that you know that what is your community fighting for, what is the main issue workers are facing or sector are facing in your workplace or in your community, so that how you can organize and what is the demand should be your priority, right? So you have only 15 minutes, and every table have a table facilitator. If you can raise your hand, all the table facilitator,